What if I told you that everything you've been taught about reality is merely a shadow of the truth? That beneath the surface of our everyday existence lies a set of ancient principles so powerful they can transform your entire life? Stop everything you're doing right now. This isn't just another video about spiritual concepts. This is about the most closely guarded wisdom that has shaped the minds of history's greatest thinkers. The Kybalion, a text so profound that it only reveals its secrets to those who are truly ready to receive them. And today, you're here because something within you is calling for this knowledge. The Kybalion isn't just a book. It's a doorway to understanding the very fabric of existence. A collection of 7 Hermetic principles that govern everything from the smallest atom to the vast cosmos. These principles weren't meant for casual readers or spiritual tourists. They were preserved for those who would actually apply them. For centuries, these teachings were passed down through whispers among initiates, carefully guarded from those who might misuse them. Even today, while the book sits in plain sight, its true power remains invisible to most. But here's what makes this different. I'm not just going to tell you what these principles are. I'm going to show you how to actually use them to reshape your reality from the inside out. By the end of this video, you'll understand why some people seem to effortlessly manifest their desires, while others struggle endlessly against invisible barriers. The difference isn't luck or privilege, it's knowledge and application of these timeless laws. Before we dive deeper, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you're playing a game without knowing the rules? Like there's some hidden force working against you no matter how hard you try? That's because there is. But it's not working against you. It's simply operating according to laws you haven't yet mastered. I spent years studying these principles, testing them in my own life, watching them transform not just my circumstances, but my entire perception of reality. What I discovered was both humbling and empowering. These aren't just philosophical concepts. They're practical tools for conscious creation. The ancient Egyptians knew this. So did the Greeks. The greatest minds throughout history, from Pythagoras to Tesla, were students of these Hermetic teachings. They understood that true power comes not from fighting against the universe, but from aligning with its fundamental laws. This first principle is the foundation of everything that follows. It states that the entire universe is a mental creation, a thought in the infinite mind of the All. This isn't just poetic language. It's the most profound truth about reality. But here's how to actually use it. Your thoughts are not just passive observations. They're creative forces. When you truly understand mentalism, you realize that changing your thoughts isn't just positive thinking. It's reality engineering. Try this. For the next 7 days, catch yourself whenever you think a limiting thought. Don't judge it. Simply replace it with its empowering opposite. I can't afford this. Becomes, I'm creating the resources for this. This always happens to me. Becomes, I'm learning and growing through this experience. This isn't magical thinking. It's working with the fundamental mental nature of the universe. Your thoughts create electromagnetic fields that literally reshape the quantum possibilities around you. This principle reveals that there are patterns that repeat throughout all levels of existence. The structure of an atom mirrors a solar system. The patterns in your personal life reflect your internal state. To use this principle, look for the patterns in your life. If you keep experiencing the same relationship problems, the same financial struggles, or the same health issues, look within. The external is always reflecting the internal. Here's a practical application. When facing a problem, ask yourself, what within me is creating this external reality? Then, instead of trying to change the outside circumstance, focus on transforming the internal pattern. As you shift your inner world, watch how your outer world begins to mirror those changes. Remember, your external reality isn't happening to you. It's happening from you. Science has confirmed what Hermetic teachers knew thousands of years ago. Everything is energy vibrating at different frequencies. Your thoughts, emotions, and physical body all exist as vibrational states. To use this principle, become conscious of your vibrational state. Emotions are energy in motion. They're not just feelings, but frequencies that attract matching experiences. Practice raising your vibration deliberately through music, movement, gratitude, or whatever genuinely elevates your state. When you feel yourself in a low vibration, don't resist it. That only locks it in place. Instead, gently shift your attention to something that naturally raises your frequency. The secret is this: you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are vibrationally aligned with. This principle reveals that seeming opposites are really just two extremes of the same thing. Hot and cold are both temperatures. Love and hate are both intense emotions. Success and failure are both results. To use this principle, when facing something negative, remember that its positive counterpart exists on the same spectrum. You can mentally move along this spectrum through the power of transmutation. For example, if you're experiencing fear, recognize that courage exists on the same spectrum. You don't need to eliminate fear. You need to transmute it by moving along the scale toward courage. This is done through small acts of bravery that gradually shift your position on that spectrum. This principle gives you the power to transform any negative into its positive counterpart, not by fighting against it, but by understanding its dual nature. Life moves in cycles, periods of growth followed by periods of rest, times of abundance followed by times of scarcity. This rhythm is not random but governed by law. To use this principle, instead of resisting the natural rhythms of life, learn to flow with them. During high tides, take bold action and expand. During low tides, reflect, plan, and restore. The master of this principle doesn't fight against the rhythm, but learns to ride it like a skilled surfer. When you feel yourself in a downward cycle, remember that an upward cycle is already on its way, and use the downtime to prepare for it. Most importantly, don't make permanent decisions based on temporary rhythms. The pendulum always swings back. Nothing happens by chance. Every event in your life is connected to causes you've set in motion, consciously or unconsciously. To use this principle, become a conscious cause creator rather than an effect responder. Instead of reacting to life's events, pause and ask, what cause do I want to set in motion now? This principle empowers you to take responsibility, not as blame, but as creative power. When you understand that you're always causing future effects, you become deliberate about the seeds you plant. Remember, small causes can create massive effects. A tiny shift in trajectory at the beginning of a journey can lead to a completely different destination. This final principle reveals that creation requires both masculine and feminine energies, regardless of your physical gender. The masculine energy is directive, focused, and action-oriented. The feminine energy is receptive, intuitive, and nurturing. To use this principle, notice which energy you tend to overuse and which you neglect. Most people in our society overemphasize masculine energy, always doing, pushing, and forcing, while undervaluing the feminine qualities of receiving, allowing, and intuiting. True manifestation requires both. Set clear intentions, masculine, then allow and receive, feminine. Plant the seed, then nurture it with patience rather than digging it up repeatedly to check its progress. Now that you understand these principles, let's talk about how to integrate them into your daily life. 1. Morning mental programming. Start each day by consciously setting your mental state. Remember the principle of mentalism. Your mind is creating your reality. Take 5 minutes to visualize your day unfolding perfectly. 2. Vibrational awareness practice. Throughout the day, check in with your vibrational state. Ask yourself, where am I on the emotional scale right now? If you're in a lower state, use the principle of polarity to gently shift toward its opposite. 3. Correspondence. Journaling. Each evening, write down the events of your day and look for how they corresponded to your internal state. This practice will reveal patterns you never noticed before. 4. Rhythmic planning. Plan your projects and goals according to natural rhythms. Use the principle of rhythm to identify when to push forward and when to rest and regroup. 5. Conscious cause creation. Before making any decision, ask yourself, what effect am I causing with this choice? Use the principle of cause and effect to become deliberate about the future you're creating. Now you might be thinking, if these principles are so powerful, why isn't everyone using them? The answer is simple but profound. These principles are always operating whether you're conscious of them or not. Most people are using them unconsciously, often in ways that create results they don't want. Others dismiss these teachings as mystical nonsense without ever testing them. They're like someone who refuses to learn the rules of physics, then wonders why they keep falling when they step off cliffs. The Kybalion isn't asking for blind faith. It's inviting you to experiment. Test these principles in your own life. See what happens when you consciously align with them rather than unconsciously working against them. The Kybalion reveals itself only to those who are ready to use it, not just understand it intellectually, but apply it practically in their daily lives. These 7 principles aren't just ancient philosophy. They're the operating system of reality itself. And now that you know them, you have a choice. Will you continue living by default, or will you begin consciously creating in alignment with these universal laws? The difference between those who transform their lives with these teachings and those who don't isn't intelligence or spiritual advancement. It's simply the willingness to practice. Start today. Choose just one principle that resonated most strongly with you. Apply it consciously for the next 7 days. Watch what happens when you align yourself with the fundamental laws of the universe. Remember, the Kybalion doesn't just reveal itself to those who read it. It reveals itself to those who live it. If this video shifted something in you, that's not a coincidence. You were drawn to this knowledge because you're ready for it. Now take that next step. Apply what you've learned and watch as reality itself begins to respond. Drop a comment below sharing which principle you're going to focus on first. The wisdom is now in your hands. What will you create with it?